Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm John, and you're watching Road Reality. And today, we're taking a look at this, or that. It's Alex Audio Butler, and it's a plugin for DaVinci Resolve that does magic. Yeah, I said it. It does magic.
All right, here we go.
And before we even get started, they did send me a license for free for me to review it and put this video on my channel. So thanks Unimule for developing this product and giving me a chance to review it. That said, they don't have any control over me. I mean, hell, nobody has control over me. Just ask my wife. Anyway, it does a whole bunch of things. It automatically mixes your audio for you. So you tell it what kind of audio track you've got and it mixes the audio for that. It auto ducks music and sound effects beneath the voice track, so your voice is intelligible and doesn't get overpowered by anything, which is nice. I'm going to skip the install process because that's really just running their package, their install package, and it's done. You start Resolve after the install, and boom, you have this plugin. Resolve didn't scan the first time for me, so it scanned the second time, and then Alex Audio Butler showed up, which is nice. And it's really easy to use. This thing is just awesome. So grab your headphones. I've got a cheap pair here. After we go through how to use it, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks, show you some of my testing, because if you've been following the channel, you know I do a lot of tests. So let's get into Resolve and check this thing out. Okay, here we are in Resolve. You can see I've done a bunch of testing. Yeah, I've spent hours with this thing. I've already published 2 or 3 videos, got 3 or 4 more already scheduled on YouTube using this product. With it, it's really saved me a ton of time in the editor. And anything that saves me time in the editor, yeah, I'm gonna use that. And we're in take 1 of this review video, which I didn't particularly care for. So we're gonna use it as sort of an example. Talking head, background noise, the place where I record has noise, so that's going to come in handy in a minute. You see there's no FX icons here, so we haven't added it yet, but what we're going to do is unmute that, and then we're going to go over to our Fairlight tab, and I've already brought it up. So in the effects library, audio effects, VST effects, you've got the 4 Alex Audio Butler plugins or effects. So first thing, we add master, and I've already done that. And when you add it, it brings up this pop-up window, shows you the level of compression. I like general. Given the 20 or 30 hours of practice and tinkering with this, I came up with these settings. So you'll need to play with it. There's just a few settings, and you can just loop back on things and check it out. See how it works for you. But follow along. Compression. General, that's fine. I don't like to boost things too much. And our export target, online or archive, we're going to leave this one on archive. For now, this is a good example of something I want to show you. And then we're going to go, and I've got screens, so that I know that's voice. Even though it's muted, we'll add it anyway. Now, on voice channels, or on voice tracks rather, you have constant source, which is premixed audio from one microphone, which is what I use. Varying sources will actually slice and dice your audio, and if you're talking really quiet, it'll bring that volume up, and if you're talking really loud, it'll bring the volume down. So I'll show you both of those in a minute, but we're going to start with constant source, and the compression we'll leave on general for now. For my vlogs, I like to do natural. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment below, and I'll leave a link to Alex Audio Butler in the description below as well. So that's our voice track. We're going to add another voice track here. We'll do constant source, leave it at general, and then we're going to add a music track down here. And it gives you several different volume levels from background all the way to loudest and off. This is part of the automatic mixing, so it's going to change the volume. It listens to your music, listens to your voice, and it sets the volume level where you want it. Now, auto ducking is where when you're talking, your background music dips below that so that your intelligible can be heard and the music doesn't overpower that. So we're going to set this to contrasting just as an example. So now that we have that set up, we'll go back to our edit page where I've got these things, and I've muted the screen because this is a screen recording with a GoPro on top. So anyway, we've got our stuff here. I also want to add noise reduction, so we'll do that here. And I like to set derumble and hiss because there's a fan and a space heater in this room and they make noise. And you generally don't hear them very much on my videos because I use this effect. So now we're all set up. We'll go in, we'll choose learn mode here. And here's another key point. You're gonna wanna make sure that Alex Audio Butler, whichever effect it is at the top of this list. This thing called a track chain, and you want Alex Audio Butler at the top of it or bottom, depending on how you look at it. So we'll go back to our GoPro footage, and that one's set up. Screen is set up the same way, and we're good. And we'll make sure our learn toggle is on to get rid of this background noise, and then music is sitting right there. So what we'll do is we're gonna hit play. You get to listen to that as well. Go back a couple of minutes. So that sort of sounded like garbage, didn't it? But if you notice over here, this little pop-up window said analyzing. You get to listen to that as well. Go back a couple of minutes. And it's picking up everything and it's doing its analysis. Now, here's where I've gotten it to falter, and that's because I have enough background noise that it doesn't know what I'm doing. So if you really want to see the effect, we'll just clip out some of this here, so you don't have to sit through that anymore, and then hit play again. You get to listen to that as well. Go back a couple of minutes. Notice it's updating analysis. You get to listen to that as well. Go back a couple of minutes. So you can sort of hear the background noise. That's not great, but hey, that's the studio I record in. If you have a quieter environment, this will work even faster for you, but you get the idea. You notice that when it gets to about this point, the music volume comes up, and when it gets to this point, the music volume goes back down. That's the auto ducking. You get to listen to that as well. Go back a couple of minutes. And that's all there is to it. So let's go take a look at some more examples, and we'll use the sound effects and more music, and I'll show you how I use it in my vlogs so you get a better idea of it. This timeline, this is the original timeline from my Brighton Dam video. Towards the end section, you can see that I've removed the audio from all these. These are all at different audio levels. Up here you can see -12.5, -10, and then this one's going to be at 0. Skip a track because I have that there, but then music is over here, and I've got volume here, it's at 0, and then I've got another volume here, it's at -15, and I have to manually go through and change those volumes, and that's kind of a pain in the ass, really. So Alex Audio Butler took care of that for me. In test 6, this is how I fixed it. These are cross dissolve audio effects, and it's a -3 because this one is at -10, and then these guys are all at -15, so these are just a crossfade 0 dB. It just smooths out the audio. And then I've got a music track here, and on the music track I can show you the plug-in here. So this is what the pop-up looks like. Notice instead of voice it says music, and I have it set it real quiet because things are subtle, and I export at a certain level, and that's where I like it. I played around with this a lot, and this is where I like it. And notice my auto ducking is on medium because I want it to be subtle. So we'll just play through this real quick. And here we are at Brighton Dam, Ironborn Rider. And there you have it. That made it so much easier because all I did was grab the audio. It was up in this track here, drag it down, and then adjusted 1-2 volumes, added the effect there. This is a little more complicated than what most people are going to do, but this is what I found works best for me because I wanted to keep the geese, when they're flying, I wanted to keep their sound. And on here, I wanted a little bit of that background water noise, but I didn't want it to be overpowering. And if you throw it here, you can see I've got the voice effect, and you can see that I've got varying sources selected for some reason, and natural compression. The more compression you add, the more it brings the highs and low volume stuff together, and that may be okay, but that's not what I'm looking for. When you do a voice, it really highlights the voice, and this is background noise, so I wanted to keep the background noise, so that's what I did. This one, we've got a music effect, and I've set it to a little bit louder than down here. And what's nice is these open up in separate windows, so you can just drag and drop these guys, and when you're playing through, you can see it shows what the input level is and what the output level is, and that's the ducking that it's doing. But I've got two music tracks here, as you can tell. One is on the background track and the other one's on the music track, and they're set to two different target volumes. And I'll show another example of that now. This is another video that's coming out soon, and I've got one section of it where this is exactly how I left it. And then I've got a couple of things that I've done differently over here to show the difference. So we're riding along.
All right, let's get on the highway and I'll see you later. All right, check-in time.
So what I've done here is I have a loud music track and a background music track. And I did that because, I'll show you here, I wanted the audio to be just a little different between them, because I wanted to sort of ramp up the audio and ramp it back down myself. So I have 4 for the loud music slot, or loud music track, and then I've got 3 for the background music track. And what that does is it allows me to better match my voice volume. So Alex Audio Butler is automatically setting the volume of my voice, and then I just use these 2 tracks to kind of adjust past that, make sure that the volume is where I want it. So I guess I'm a little bit of a control freak. But in the second section, you notice I got the same song, but I didn't do anything. So we're really going to see the auto ducking work on this one, because loud music should be contrasting. Ta-da! Loud music is contrasting, so you'll really be able to hear it.
All right, let's get on the highway and I'll see you later. All right, check-in time.
So what you could do with this is, with the MOTOVLOG, obviously it's not going to duck properly because you always have background noise like I showed earlier. So what you're going to do is drop out the audio from a section like I've done here, and then take Alex Audio Butler and just throw it on one track and you can be done. I got a little fancy over here, and that's why I have those. Now, this one is an example of the sound effects. So I told you I'd get around to sound effects, didn't I? So with the sound effects, I have a target volume of 3 and auto ducking off, because if you're running sound effects, you want those to be overpowering, sort of. I set the volume with the target volume, and that means that these sound effects aren't going to be too loud, but they're not going to auto duck either. And let's go back and play that. So you notice that this sound effect kept the same volume, which is really cool, but it's right in line with the subtlety of my videos. I mean, that it's all consistent. I mean, that's the key of Alex Audio Butler. It's all consistent. Now, once you find these settings, what I did was I took a screenshot of all my audio tracks on a project, and I saved it as a PNG or JPEG or whatever. That allows me to go into any new project, add these plugins, and then boom, my audio is just about done. I go through, I like to do a rough cut, and then I guess now's a good time to enter the section where I talk about the tips and tricks. So yay, let's get started with that. Once you have your settings figured out for how you like it, you're letting Alex Audio Butler do the rest of the work. What you can do is start a project, get a rough cut going, you're ready to start adding background music. That's when they suggest that you throw the effects on. I've thrown the effects on a brand new project, and you will notice quite a bit of choppiness in your audio. You will notice a lot of garbled audio, and that's literally just the AI figuring out how your tracks sound and adjusting the volume for that. It's okay. The first couple of playthroughs are gonna sound pretty rough. I've done these a few times, obviously, so they sound a lot better. Once it's got it figured out, the audio is just phenomenal. I actually saw a noticeable increase. I didn't see it, I heard it. I heard a noticeable increase in the quality of my audio because it sounds to me like Alex Audio Butler is doing a voice isolation where it's bringing up my voice and lowering the background noise a little bit, even on my voice track alone, which has engine noise, wind noise, me, you know, everything about motorcycling all into one, which is really, really cool because that lets the noise reduction plugin handle just the de-humming and de-hissing without also trying to bring up my voice track, which I like a lot, and I really think it sounds good. And if you want to see some more behind the scenes testing, drop me a comment below and I'll make an even longer video, because this one's got to be about 15 minutes long by now, and well, it's too long. Let's wrap this up. One of the other things they told me was to do an audio only render, so I'm going to show you how to do that real quick and what it means. So we're here in the render page, and we're going to look for a file. I already set mine up, and export audio is checked, export video is not checked, and we have no jobs in our queue, so we'll add it. It's going to ask me if I want to replace it. Yes. Render all, generating export. There you go. Look at that. So it's going to render, and you're going to need to do this 2 or 3 times, but if you can tell, it's 300 frames a second, so it's rendering pretty damn quick. But this will allow it to really listen to the audio better and come up with a better export. And it says export has incomplete analysis, so we'll do it again. And I'll skip ahead until it gives me the right message, because it may take 3 or 4 tries. Okay, so that took 3 tries. Now we see export successful. Thanks for using Alex Audio Butler. And you're done. So what do I think of Alex Audio Butler? 2 thumbs up. Go buy it. I think it's about 90 bucks for Resolve, 150 if you want the Premiere Pro and Resolve versions. Totally worth it. I have been in the editor all week or 2 weeks. It's been 25, 30 hours of editing, and I've used it for the whole thing. It causes a little bit of lag when it's doing its analysis, but it's very minimal. If you have a faster machine, it's obviously going to be better. This thing is awesome. I know that for 3 videos that I completed and uploaded to YouTube, subscribe now, you'll see them if you hit the bell icon when they're actually published. But I got 3 videos that I uploaded to YouTube, and they sound great. My audio quality went up another notch. I didn't have to do as much work. It does a great job of ducking. If you want a little extra smoothness, you can drop out the audio like I did, where I had background noise, and you can add the cross dissolve minus or plus 3 dB transitions, and that'll really make that transition a little bit longer and thus smoother. And I love it. I think it's great. Thanks to Unimule for sending me a license for it, and I'm putting it to good use. Go get you a copy of it, because this thing is phenomenal. And that's going to wrap up this video. What else is there to say? It's a great plug-in. It does everything it's advertised to do. It doesn't cost a ton of money. It saved me literally hours of time, because where I used to have to go in and set up my tracks and then manually change every bit of audio volume, I don't have to do the audio volume anymore. I set that for what track the audio is on, and then boom, I want it to be louder. I just bump it up to the next track, and it's automatically where I want it, and everything is consistent. So everybody that knows MP3s knows that your audio source could be different, and thus the volume level could be different for one track to another. This equalizes that out. It equalizes your voice out. It handles voice isolation a little bit. So if you're doing motovlogging and you're doing Resolve, go buy Alex Audio Butler. Until I see you again, keep the shiny side up. Take care. Oh, and this whole video was mixed with Alex Audio Butler. Cool, huh?